first box that you started filling here is on rays. Ray, you may have heard that word before. A ray looks like this. It has an endpoint and then it goes on forever and ever in just one direction. So this is a ray. This is what it looks like. An endpoint goes on forever. How do you name a ray? You name it based on the points and you use this little symbol right here. Looks just like a ray. And then when you name it, you have to start with the endpoint. So here the endpoint is M. And then you just name another point on the ray, so MN. So we could say this is ray MN. Or we could say that this is ray MP. Either one is fine, but the M does have to come first since that is the endpoint. So it begins but never ends. It can't be measured. It goes on for infinity. Then right down here, it says if you choose a point on a line, that point determines exactly two rays called opposite rays. So it's talking about this picture right here, and I'll point out what it's talking about, opposite rays. So here, if you choose this point right here, you have a ray that goes this way and another ray that goes this way. And since they form a straight line, they're called opposite rays. Since both rays share a common endpoint, opposite rays are collinear. There's different names for this too. It could be like a straight angle. This angle has a 180-degree measure. However you want to think about it. Okay, next box. We started filling this in already. An angle, I know you've seen angles before. It comes up in elementary and middle school. By definition, it's two rays with a common endpoint. So notice there is a ray here, and then there's also a ray here, and they share a common endpoint, and that makes an angle. This point right here is called the vertex, and that'll come up a lot. So we have a side, which are two rays, and then a vertex where they meet. And then here we use the points on the angle to name the angle. So when you name an angle, you name it with 3 points, and you have to have the vertex as a middle letter. So we can say that this is angle YXZ. So that's what they want us to do here, YXZ. Or you can say that this is ZXY, angle ZXY. Either one is fine. You just have to make sure that the vertex is the middle letter. The next way to name this angle is based on this little number that they put in the corner here. So if they put a little number in the corner, you could name this angle 3. And then the third way to name this angle is just based on the vertex. If it doesn't, if there's no other angle connected here, I'll show you an example in a second, you can just say that this is angle X. So in an angle, the common endpoint is a vertex, rays are the sides, the rays can't be collinear, so it makes that measure there, vertex is the middle, and then here we'll see this abbreviation, measure of angle A is abbreviated as M angle A. So if you see this, that means measure of angle A, and it's talking about degree measure, which we'll get to. And then right here, it has a couple just kind of practice problems with vocabulary. It says an angle is a figure formed by two rays that have the same endpoint. The rays of the angle are called sides of the angle, and the endpoint is called the vertex. Okay, then to the next page, we're going to do kind of some practice with this. So there's some practice like this on your homework where it's just using the vocabulary. It wants you to name angles and rays. So here it says use a figure to name the angles and their parts. Name all the angles that have vertex B. Okay, so first of all, find point B, which is right here. And notice around that vertex, there are actually multiple angles. There's 4 of them individually. So this angle right here would be angle GBA. Then this angle, you could name it based on the points. You could also name it based on the number right here. And I would find the number easier because you just have to name the number. With angle 6 and angle 5 all have the vertex B. Then it says name the sides of angle 5. Let's see, angle 5 right here. The sides would be this ray and this ray. So it would be ray BG and ray BE. And then for C, it says write another name for angle 6. So identify angle 6 right here. Another name for that would be to use the points. So we have point D right here and point E. So I'm going to say this is angle D. Oh, I just wrote something that I didn't say. Angle DBE. DBE. I made sure that the vertex is the middle letter. Okay, and then here is another pretty easy concept. It says an angle divides a plane into 3 distinct parts. Points QMN, so identify QMN, lie on the angle. Point S and R lie on the inside of the angle, or interior. And then P and O lie on the outside, or exterior of the angle. Okay, and then the next box, types of angles. I know you've seen this before, so just like reviewing it, putting it back in your brain. There are 3 types of angles, and we identify them as either right, obtuse, or acute. Do you remember those words? Read them before? Okay. So a right angle measures exactly 90 degrees. And when you see a right angle, you'll see this little square right here, and that means that it's a right angle and it measures 90 degrees. A right angle, it's like exactly perpendicular, like this is straight up and down and this is straight across to make that 90 degrees. So angle A equals 90 degrees, it's a right angle. Then for obtuse, it is greater than 90 degrees, so it opens wider than this. So it's between 90 and 180 degrees. So angle B is less than 180 and greater than 90. And then acute is the smaller. It's smaller than 90 degrees. So it measures between 0 and 90 degrees. It is less than 90 degrees, and you can see that in the picture. It shows the dotted line at 90 degrees, and this is clearly smaller than the 90 degrees. If you have trouble remembering this, one of my teachers growing up said like a cute little baby, so it's the smaller one. Obtuse, I think of the root word like ob, which would be for obese. It's like bigger, and so yeah. Okay, then for this section, it says use a protractor to measure each angle. Is the angle acute, right, or obtuse? We're not going to use a protractor to measure. We're just going to look at them. Is the angle acute, right, or obtuse? Okay, so number 1, is that 90 degrees, less than 90 degrees, or greater? Yes, it is obtuse. If you can't see that, like if you were to draw a right angle right here, this is clearly bigger than that right angle. This one be less than 90 degrees, so it would be acute. This one is less than the 90 degrees, so it would be acute as well. Number 4, this would be bigger than a 90-degree angle. So this would be obtuse. This one definitely smaller, so acute. And this one, maybe kind of hard to tell, but if I was to sketch out right angle, this is clearly smaller, so it would be an acute angle. Okay, and when you're done with that, we're going to flip to the next page, just one more page, and we're done. Okay, so over here, there's two sides. This is for Monday, and then this is what we're doing today right here. Okay, so first concept, congruent angles. We saw that word congruent. This is the symbol for congruent. Congruent means the exact same shape and size. Congruent angles are angles that have the same measure, like degree measure. So we can see two angles right here, and they're both 42 degrees. So we'll see this arc, and this arc means that they are the same measure as well. So we can say that angle G is congruent to angle S, meaning that the measure of angle G is equal to the measure of angle S. Next concept is called an angle bisector. This comes up a lot, will come up a lot this year. An angle bisector is a ray that it divides an angle in half. So here the angle bisector is BD, and it breaks this angle into two equal pieces, and it shows this little tally here showing that those are the same measure. So what that means is, okay, if this is 49 degrees, if we're told that's 49 degrees, and we're told that this is an angle bisector, this must also be 49 degrees. And that would make the entire thing, angle ABC, 98 degrees. Okay, next. So here are some examples with that. It shows an angle here. It says in the given figure, BD, so this ray right here, bisects CBA. Find the measure of CBD and CBA. Okay, well, it shows 65 degrees. I know it's really tiny, but it shows 65 degrees here. If this is 65 degrees and this is an angle bisector, then this has to be 65 degrees. And then the whole thing would be 65 plus 65, which is 130 degrees. So then CBD, let's see, CBD is just this. I labeled it 65 degrees. CBA, let's see, CBA is the whole thing. That is 130 degrees. Okay, and then continuing with that concept, it says BT bisects the angle, find the value of x, and find the measure of the angles to the nearest tenth. Okay, so here is a level 3 skill as outlined by like the Florida EOC guidelines. It says the level 3 on the EOC skill is to solve expressions in regards to this concept. So in order to find x, since that's an angle bisector, we set these equal and solve for x. 3x plus 13 equals 5x minus 17. And we will solve for x. So subtract 3x from both sides. 13 equals 2x minus 17. Then adding 17 over here. Get it up here. I get 30 equals 2x. Divide by 2. And x equals 15. Okay, so the question says to find the value of x, which I did, and then it says then find the measure of each of the angles to the nearest tenth. Okay, so once I have x, I need to plug that into this expression to find the measure of the angle. So here, 3 times 15 plus 13. 45 plus 13 is 58 degrees. So I got 58 degrees here. This, I could go ahead and solve it, but since this is an angle bisector, this is going to come out to 58 degrees as well. And we'll stop. Okay, then the next one when you're ready. You guys are keeping up with me. Nice job. Okay, the next one, same idea. It says BD right here, bisects ABC, solve for x, and then find the measure of ABC. Okay, so solving for x, since this is an angle bisector, these are the same measure, and we can set these equal to solve for x. So 4x equals 3x plus 6. To solve, subtract 3x from both sides, x equals 6. Cool. So I got part A. Then part B, find the measure of ABC, the whole thing. Well, 4x, let's see, so 4x would be 4 times 6, which is 24 degrees. So this is 24 degrees. This would then be 24 degrees as well. And then the whole thing would be 48 degrees. So measure of angle ABC equals 48 degrees. Okay, number 4, A and B. It takes you through like some of the like what ifs. Same kind of concept, it's just slightly different setup. It says measure of ABC is 98 degrees. What is the value of x? Well, if the whole thing is 98 degrees, then, and then BD is a bisector, then this would be 49 degrees and this would be 49 degrees. And then we can set this equal to 49 to solve for x. So 5x minus 11 equals 49. Add 11 to both sides. 5x equals 60. X equals 12. Then the last one right here, it says ABC. So ABC is the whole thing, is 9x plus 87. And we need to find x. Well, since this is an angle bisector, and these two are the same measure, then 8x minus 16 is also right here, 8x minus 16. Then to solve this, I could say 2 of these equals this. 2 8x minus 16s equal 9x plus 87. Then we distribute. 16x minus 32 equals 119. And x equals 17. And that is all. So once you get that done, you can jump onto Schoology and start your homework. Grab the numbered laptop. All the laptops are in order. Make sure to grab the numbered laptop. We have a couple calculators missing. Make sure you grab your numbered stuff so I know who to ask when something goes missing.
Wait.